guys, my name is Gil. Welcome back to my workshop. In this video, I'm going to be making a straightening jig, and I really should have made this video a long time ago before all the other videos I made, because before you can even make a spear gun, you need straight wood. And so with this straightening jig, which is going to be used on a table saw, you'll be able to do that. And it's going to look something like this thing, which is what I've been using up until now. It's this particular jig is 8 feet long. It's got a miter bar on the bottom of it, made out of aluminum to help guide it through the miter slot on the table saw. Now this is 8 feet long, and it's designed for spear guns up to 6 feet long. It's a big, unwieldy thing, and I almost hate to use it all the time because it's such a big thing. It's kind of heavy and kind of inconvenient. So what I'm going to be making is very similar to this. It's going to be a lot smaller and a lot simpler. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, let's quickly go over the hardware that you're going to need on this straightening sled. Pick these up at the local hardware store, and it's fairly cheap. You won't spend a whole lot on this project. It's very economical. First off is these carriage bolts. These are 1/4 by 20 thread carriage bolts, 4.5 inches long. We need 2 of those, and 2 that are 5 inches long. Also got these wing nuts. I got 4 of those, and I had these lying around the house for other jigs and other projects. And since I have them, I'm going to use them on this project. So these are knobs, plastic knobs, and you can get them from woodworking stores like Rockler or Woodcraft or any one of those fine woodworking supply stores. Okay. All right, let's look at the tools that you're going to need. Here's a 1/4 inch drill bit, and you'll need a drill, of course. You're going to need a 5/8 Forstner bit, and we're going to use this to make the recesses for the head of these carriage bolts. So 5/8 Forstner bit. You're going to need a router, a handheld router, and a flush trim router bit that's got a bearing on the bottom of it. Okay. The last thing you'll need is a straight edge. Now, there's a few options for you as far as the straight edge. You could find the straightest piece of metal that you could find at a scrap yard or anywhere for that matter. Here I'm using, actually this is one of my tools. It's a carpenter's level, and it's 6 foot long, and it's got a machined surface here on both sides. This should produce a nice clean edge when you route that board. What I do have, and it's a tool that I acquired a long time ago, is this precision cast iron straight edge, and it's a very expensive tool, and like I said, I acquired it when I was running my business. But this particular tool has parallel surfaces and straight surfaces that are straight within 1/10,000th of an inch for every 12 inches. So either or, I'm going to use this guy because it's lot more accurate, but this is perfectly acceptable. Okay. All right. Here's my piece of lumber that I'm going to be using. It's a piece of hickory hardwood. It's 6 feet long and 5/8 inches thick and 6 inches across. And the first step is basically to put a nice straight edge along there using our router bit, our router and our straight edge. We're going to clamp this board to the straight edge and then route. Okay.
Hello.
Alright, now let's check that edge and make sure it's nice and straight. Looks pretty good to me. Really nice straight edge. I know you can't tell from the camera, but that's pretty damn straight. Alright, now that we have a board with one straight edge, I'm going to take a rip cut down the length of this board with my table saw so it's the same width all the way through, okay? Okay, now that we have a straight board, we need to mark the centers for all the holes we're going to drill for the carriage bolts. Now I've taken my board and I flipped it upside down. This would be the surface that would slide against the table saw, and this is this edge that would be against the fence, and this is the straight edge that we cut with the router earlier, and this would be the side that would be held against the blade. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you watch, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mark the centers for those holes. And what I'm gonna do is basically draw two parallel lines. One would be 3/4 of an inch from this edge, and then one would be 3 inches from this edge. And once I've drawn those two lines, make cross lines all along the board every 2 inches. That way I would have a center every 2 inches along the board, and spaced about 1¼ actually 2¼ inches apart. Okay, so here we go. Using the square. Okay. Now. Here's a little better look at the marks I made for the holes. This is the bottom of the board, and this is the fence, the edge would be against the fence, and this edge here would be against the blade. And then my grid here, basically 2 parallel lines down the length of the board, and a bunch of cross lines. And at every intersection there's going to be a hole, okay? And the holes are spaced 2 inches apart, and the 2 rows, the distance from the edge for the first row is 3/4, and the distance from the edge of the second row of holes is 3 inches. Okay, now I'm going to just start doing all the counter bores using my Forstner bit on the drill press. Okay. Alright, I got my drill press set up, and have a little fence here clamped to the table, and my 5/8 diameter Forstner bit. And we're going to use this Forstner bit to do the counter bore for the holes. And the counter bore is for the carriage bolt, the head of the carriage bolt, so that it lies below the surface of the bottom of the jig. Okay. Alright, now that I've drilled all the counter bores with the Forstner bit, I can go ahead and use my 1/4 inch drill bit to drill through. And the drill bit should automatically center on the drill point that the Forstner bit left behind it. I don't know if you can see that, but when you use a Forstner bit, there's a brad point on it, and it leaves that little hole in the middle. So when you drill, it'll automatically center on that. So I can go ahead and do that now. Okay, here's a little closer look at the bottom. I'm done counter boring and drilling all the holes on the board here. So I'm almost done. I went ahead and made the hold downs, and these are basically short pieces of wood, and this is what I'm going to use to hold down whatever piece of lumber we're going to be straightening with this jig. The dimensions of these hold downs are basically 4.5 inches in length, about 3/4 of an inch thick, and 1.25 inches wide. And on the bottom of these hold downs, I'm gonna attach some grip tape. This is the stuff that you put on stair treads, and it's a really aggressive grit here, and it's got an adhesive back, so we can just stick it on there, and that'll help to hold down the wood when we're straightening. Okay, so we're almost there. Alright, so our sliding jig or straightening jig is done. It's fully assembled, and these are what the hold downs look like. See that? We got the 5-inch carriage bolt going through the board, and it sits below the surface of the bottom of the board, and it's got a wing nut there cinching up against it, and a knob here, and here's the hold downs that we made. And this is the shorter carriage bolt, and this is basically to support the hold down as you tighten down. And this is fully adjustable with 2 wing nuts. I actually miscalculated earlier on the quantity of wing nuts. You're going to need 3 per hold down, so 6 total as far as wing nuts go. Okay, and the reason we have 2 rows of holes is you can hold the stock from the side or the front and the back. So you can take a Speargun stock or any piece of lumber for that matter, and put it in there. You know, you could hold it like that. It's fully adjustable. Put 2 on the side or 2 in the front and back. Whatever makes you happy. Okay, and so on this piece of wood, I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to take a really light cut here to flatten that surface. True that up. So tighten that down. Go over this side. Make sure I got a little bit hanging over the edge here. Tighten that down. As long as I got a little bit hanging over the edge, the blade can true up that surface and not cut into our jig. Okay, so it's done. Really simple. I'm gonna do a test run and see what kind of result I get. Okay. All right. So I'm ready to go with the table saw. My piece is clamped down to the jig, and my fence is set to the correct distance from the blade. I've got 2 feather boards here, and they're going to help me keep the jig pressed up against the fence, and that ensures a really accurate cut. So I think this is the moment of truth. We're going to find out how good of a straight surface we get on this blank. Okay? So I broke out my straight edge again, and I put my freshly straightened Speargun blank on top of it. And if you look really close down here, it's kind of hard to see, but it's really tight. There's literally no gap through the full length of the Speargun blank. Okay, so there you have it. That is how you straighten your wood for spear guns. You can use the jig for short pieces, long pieces. It's fully adjustable. You can do tapers on it. It's easy to build. It's really simple. You can do it in half a day, or even shorter if you're fast. It's a minimal investment, so it's worth your time and your money. Build one and you won't be sorry. Thank you. Have a good time.